Hello, dear ones. This is our another episode of Mini Panel Talks, and this time let me introduce you December panelist. First of them is Selvakumar. Selva is from Chennai in India, and he spent 8 long years as a scientific assistant at the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, meticulously studying near space. But 2 years ago, he realized the most complex undiscovered space was internal and promptly resigned to focus on self-reflection and spiritual inquiry. For the last 7 years, he's been deeply into J. Krishnamurti's teachings, even spending 18 months volunteering and living at the Naimishi Study Center. His philosophical library includes the heavy hitters like the Theosophists-WFYT, Ramana Maharishi, and Nisargadatta Maharaj. Basically, he left physics to pursue the only thing harder, the ultimate reality. Here you go, Selva. The floor is all yours.
Yeah, thank you, Marike. Thank you. Thank you all. Actually, I am a new member of that youth forum group. I recently joined, and I was very happy to get connected, all of you, because it is very open and loving community, very affectionate, and I'm not such a skill to present and all that, but I'm just sharing my journey, how I've been, or I can share how Theosophical Society teachings aligned with my interest, how I've been into, and all that I can share. So I was feeling that Theosophical Society is not. It's too much. It's oriented towards the truth, not towards the person or a master or something like that. So because of it is truth oriented, it is very uh, open to understand other teachings, open to listen someone, open to being into inquiry. So that aspect, it was very interesting for me. So it was in morning. I was started thinking about it, what I can tell. So I feel that yes, this the truth oriented makes them so much connected to all of us. So even that was, I'm sharing so many passages, quotations, many variety of teachings in the group, and then I was seeing a lot of interest, and we are sharing. People open to accept it, admit, and all that. So that was very impressing. And the other where I was feeling that theosophy teachings more seeing the things through the eyes of sacredness, seeing the sense of seeing everything as a something that bhavana used to say that in our language bhavana, which means through the eyes of the sacred. So that is also I mean very. I see that it was more aligned to me, and because there is no differentiation between an ordinary and sacred. Because when you see, look at the through the eyes of the sacred, you're seeing that everything as a sacred, and so that was more into Ramana Maharshi teachings, Nisargadatta teachings, what I've been gone through, and also I was more into Krishnamurti teachings, so which it's not he, and I was seeing that Theosophy also not so much this not interested on blind belief system, as well as external practices, which is not relevant to the inquiry, inward inquiry, and all that. So yes, these are the things in the path I was noticing. Then it is also open to that kind of courage to question everything. So, I mean, for example, I'm seeing that there are a variety of speakers who have been invited in the conventions, even SOW, that department where inviting Professor Ravi Ravindra and many other people who have been many other areas have been teachings, and also it is also looking at the broader view of human evolution. Yeah. So yeah, so many things I can add many of the things. Yeah, and maybe a very interesting thing is it is more into pointing out how to live the life more consciously. So these are the way I was sharing that how, I mean, I may not say in that way, I mean, I can include in that way that how it has inspired as well as how it has been aligned to my journey. Yes, Abhi. So these are things I would like to share. Yeah. So and recent times I was exploring some part of the teachings which question about it is really happening, things are happening, or am I doing? So that was for me very much interesting. Last few months, I was exploring, I was noticing myself since even morning to daily activities, whether it is really happening or am I doing. So this was not part. I mean, for me, it is very very new because the Krishnamurti teachings not pointing out. It was pointing out human disorders and our psychological content. So in order to understand all that, then Krishnamurti talks about timeless, sacred, and all that. But there is this the word which Krishnamurti point out that you should observe things which without likes and dislikes, which is very common to um, Buddha aspect, Buddha teachings aspect, as well as Krishnamurti aspect. And when you put into as a yourself as a witness, you're going to look at the things kind of which is happening. It's not you're doing, and which means you're not taking just like that. You do all your responsibilities, you do all those things, but you also noticing that through these things are happening through you, and you are as a, like an instrument. So we can the very we can put aside ourselves and placing ourselves as a witness, and we can look at the things. So that is how I can saying that it is more aligned with the Krishnamurti teachings and Buddha and all other. I've been attended many courses of Vipassana also. So there also they used to say that you have to look at the sensation um, without your likes and dislikes. You have to look at the things, your experiences, bodily experiences, and all that with equanimity. So nowhere you are not identifying things. So now I'm questioning whether it is possible through my daily life and every all other activity which is happening through what do you call it, whatever the word you can put it, through sacred, through consciousness or whatever. But is it we are just merely as an instrument? So I shared a few, a few passages where if somebody interested, they can share in the screen where we can read out if we have time, or we can read out later some part of it. It is open.
Do you want me to share the screen with this one? I see if,
Do you have that? Even in the group I shared.
you also shared in the group.
Shared in the group, yeah. Anyone can they can in the screen they can read. We can read.
Okay. I mean, maybe we can go through it quickly. I can
Yeah.
like in few minutes.
Yeah. Yes. You can.
Yes. Are you able to see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So I just shared one link, which is a small scene in the movie of Curious Case of Benjamin Button. There is one scene where there's a one accident is happened. How all of us are how connected, and it is not that where there is a single doer. The things are happening, which is so much connected, which we don't know. We don't have any clue that how it's are interconnected. And then even the any one things which happened rightly, that accident would have been not happened. Which is states that how we are very limited, how we are not. So when we say that I do, I have done it, I know it, all that it's kind of questionable through that small. I mean, it's a kind of funny where you can watch, and yeah, this is a statement where even America you can read it.
You
We
never
can.
do anything all by consciousness itself. You only observe. You are not the content. You are the space for content. What is consciousness? Consciousness is the impersonal light of knowing, the sense of being I am, in which world, body, and mind appear. All that appears as movement, choice, effort, or action is by consciousness itself, arising, functioning, dissolving in your own I amness, just now. Yeah, it goes on.
One page, that one page we can read it. First one
Okay.
page, yeah.
Breathing, heartbeat, speech, thought, desire, decision, worldly actions, all happens by consciousness, not by a person. There is never a person. There is never a doer. Consciousness is the single universal source that functions through every body-mind with no individual doer. Consciousness is impersonal. Even though consciousness feels like me, it is not personal. The I that you take yourself to be is only a concept. Consciousness is universal. So there is no separate my consciousness. There is only consciousness expressing itself in each body. You, as a separate individual, do not control thoughts, decisions, or actions. All thoughts and actions arise spontaneously as the functioning of consciousness throughout the particular body-mind. Consciousness does everything. There is no individual doer. The body-mind is just an instrument which consciousness operates. Very nice.
And also there are some practices I've been shared. I'm just noticing myself what can be done. So these
Hi.
are practices anyone can interested, they can explore themselves. For example, see the body mind as an instrument, whether repeated breathing happens, digestion happens, thought arises. Are we digesting it? Are we breathing? I mean, it's happening. So these are like kind of some practices which I have mentioned here. Yeah, anybody can, whether you can read it out or it can be shared. If it
Yeah.
is helpful, anybody can.
I think it's very nice that you share it also in youth forum so anybody can actually see and try it out. I very much like that how we are using this youth forum in that sense that anything that is really precious to us, we share it because, you know, they say that in a everyday life, like in a physical level, uh, you receive if you take something, but in a spiritual life, you receive when you give out. And if you have something worth sharing, something inspirational, then like this is the best
Yeah,
thing that you can do.
yeah. And also, this is a sharing by through our own consciousness itself. We are sharing through the consciousness. It is not like, for example, whatever I share, it is to the consciousness itself. So yeah, it is. We are all part of it. Anyhow.
This is very beautiful.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, so you said you shared it also in youth forum.
yeah, yes.
Okay.
In the group, yeah,
Okay.
anyone can have it, read it.
So is it okay I stop sharing right now?
Yeah,
And
sure. Yeah,
if you have any
yes,
questions, then we can later go back to it.
sure. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Selva. Thank you.
Thank you, Belinda.
So now, Iris, let me tell you a little bit about her. Uh, she's a bright Dutch student who apparently wasn't getting enough spirituality in a university lectures where in Amsterdam she's studying religion. Her life trajectory changed permanently after she visited India in February 2024, when instead of finding a nice resort, she quite literally stumbled upon the School of Wisdom in Adyar Theosophical Society. The moment she arrived, she felt instantly that this is a homecoming. When Iris reached back to Netherlands, she signed the papers and became a member of the Theosophical Society there, and is now an enthusiastic event co-organizer with Pauline for the young Dutch Theosophist. Hello here. The floor is all yours.
Wow, thank you, Marika, for the beautiful description. You really made something quite interesting out of it. And it's a very yeah, interesting question actually, because this question is Sel was talking about this consciousness who is expressing itself through all these different forms and personalities, and I think like this question also cannot be answered in the same way by the different people. People all bring their own flavor and their own maybe culture and mind and thinking and all the expressions. So yeah, it's quite beautiful that everybody's expressing it in their own way. So thank you for that. It's a nice collection that you are creating with all these different expressions. So when thinking about this topic, actually this question, the first thing that came to my mind was actually, and it sounds a bit strange talking about inspiration, but was actually my mom and her dad in 2022. Yeah, she had cancer, and so we had like a 1.5 year of getting one bad news after the other. And in our house, we were not talking much about the spiritual realm. Actually, we were brought up as atheists. But yeah, her form was dying. And she had to cope with this. And we all had to cope with this reality, actually. And so that started the whole process actually for her and also for me. I was a little before that, I was already reading some books. I actually started with Edgar Tolle, The Power of Now. That really blew my mind. It was the first time I was like, yeah, I read somewhere that, okay, the future and the past is something, is just in your head and etc. And I always, like, when I read it, I felt like, yes, this is really resonating, but it really opened the door. But also, so yeah, I had some nice conversations with my mom also about it, and it was quite beautiful. That actually in that period, also my brother and my mom and me were really connecting on the more spiritual side, and we're really exploring it a bit together. And so when she died, something inside me broke, and it was painful, it was hard, it was very sad, of course, and there was a lot of grief. But looking back at it, it also opened something. So it also made somehow some space where more light can come through. And I was reading the same books, and it just hit differently. It felt like it was like, at first it was like, okay, yes, I can get into it, but then it was like it really connected and clicked it, and I could see way more than I was, yeah, seeing before when reading the exact same things. And that started actually also on my exploring quest, and I'm still there, and I don't think I will ever stop exploring all the things that, yeah, all the mysteries that are not really out there. It's in the Netherlands, you're not really confronted with the spiritual realm much in your daily life, but there's so much to explore, of course. So actually, even though I still really miss her, I also want to take this opportunity here now to talk about that, and actually maybe also appreciate that a bit. Because when thinking about it, it's also like that also makes life possible. And there is actually no life without that. So what that actually means is that something that takes a step back so that something else can emerge. So there's this dance of different phenomena that is interacting with each other, and this interaction or this phenomena can be on the biggest scale or the tiniest one, about stars exploding or like cells renewing. but it also is in our daily lives. I find that every choice we make is also that something dies and something blooms or can get a birth. So yeah, I sometimes feel like that all these choices, we create circumstances, and all we can do is create those circumstances that, if we're talking about inspiration, we create moments in time and space for the most beneficial moments for that inspiration to can come to us or to express itself through a book or to a talk or to something else. But I find it a beautiful way to look at it as recreating those circumstances, and then it's not that we are chasing after something or wanting to grasp something, but it's also about creating and then perceiving and then also trusting and about this communication with it. So yeah. And I find that also manifests in all these other different ways, also in maybe the death of old habits, of old friends, of fears, of expectations and projections. So yeah, all these things have a life and have a death. And I see this also in nature. Of course, nature has also its own rhythm. Here in the Netherlands, it's now winter. So the nature is actually resting, and the trees have let their leaves fall down and really go in energy resting mode, which is also quite inspiring. That this change of seasons, which can also be seen for your own spiritual journey, which has also seasons and which has also a rhythm. So we cannot be always enthusiastic and happy and feeling enlightened and etc. But there's also moments of just nothing, nothingness, rest, decay, even boredom or anything else. But then it's also this time that things sink in, and you cannot have it all at the same time. And also, yeah, there's also moments for grief and sadness, which is also I find important to invite and not push away. So actually, this suffering is also helping us, and it's forcing us to stop actually, and to listen, and to go inward, and to go into our own winter season. And letting our leaves that take up too much energy, so all the things in our lives that are taking too much energy, just let them go, because in this period of time the sun may not have give us this energy. So yeah, we sometimes need to let those leaves go, and the sun will come again, and the spring will come again. And this dance of life and death, and growing and resting, and I don't know, speaking and silence, is also inspiring. That it's also shows its non-absoluteness, and this not only one side over the other, favoring one side over the other. We also see this in different. I see this in different kind of religions also. That it's for me, it's not one tradition over the other. It's all about the orchestra of playing together, and that's also the reason why I study religion also, because I like to discover and to see all the different aspects of them, and because they're all trying to explain something that is unexplainable in their own unique way, and how they express it is quite fascinating, I find. And that is why also maybe I felt so connected to the Theosophy, because for me that is like the one thing that I've come across so far that is really is about all these different aspects, and all about this orchestra, and about this connection, this underlying connection between all these different forms. and really about this essence that is underneath it, and yeah, giving us tools to study this essence in its own way. Yeah. That is actually, I think, what I have to say about it. I'm really happy that I am part of the Theosophy community, and that it's also creating circumstances for the for this inspiration to come to us and to feel this oneness of all. And I find that everybody's working so hard to create all these circumstances all over the world. We're all trying our best, and I find it quite beautiful that we are all in this creating circumstances business together. So thank you.
Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. I love it. I will come back to it later. But now let me tell you a little bit about Ellie, who is our next panelist. So Ellie's a young theosophist from Australia who proudly celebrated her 1-year memory anniversary lately. And she's still learning the proper pronunciation of some Sanskrit terms, but she's getting there. And Ellie is armed with insatiable curiosity and a master's program in University of Canberra. And I'm just wondering if her thesis, she's trying to find academic proof that the next great education reform needs involve 7 principles of the man. Maybe not, but let's see. And she loves learning from the others and thinking outside the box. So Ellie, this is now your turn.
Thank you. Thank you for introducing me, and thank you so much, Selva and Iris, for your sharings. I feel like I'm echoing you both, but it is so beautiful to be part of this community. It's very warm here, and I really do feel like I learn so much from everyone every time. So yeah, it's really lovely to be here. Yeah, well, I'm a young theosophist in Australia. It's unlike Iris in where you're from. It's actually just come into summer here, so it's very warm. But we're still sort of, doing a couple of different Christmas things and stuff like that. But I suppose I found theosophy through education. So I did my undergraduate degree and majored in psychology. I always really knew that I wanted to work with people and sort of some sort of healing, but I wasn't sure if psychology was it. And so I decided to go do teaching because I really like to work with the little ones and sort of the growth and development and the youth. And it was my university lecturer one day who I think I was quite disillusioned with education, and I didn't know it yet, and I still don't know it exactly, but I'm learning a bit more. But I thought, oh, there must be more to this. There must be more to just the tests and the formalities and the uniformity of everything. Um, and he said to me, oh, maybe have you heard of, we used to have lots of conversations about life. And he said to me one day, have you heard about theosophy or anthroposophy? They do things differently. And I went, no, I don't know what these words are. So I went and looked it up, and I went and found my local Theosophy Lodge and joined some meetings and realized a little bit more what I was looking for in the teacher training course that I was taking, which was that there is such thing as inner schooling, and that life itself is full of lessons and is a bit like a school. And so I've gone on to do some research in exactly that a little bit. I realized that maybe you could have a type of pedagogy with your higher self. So that's what I'm quite interested in, that concept. And I suppose when we think about if there is such thing as a personal self, and a higher self, that changing ourselves precipitates changing others or changing society or changing the world. So often there's lots of people of all different religions, of all different cultures, of all different beliefs. I've know some wonderful people who are atheists who are very moral and they want to change the world for a better place. But before you can do any of those things, you do need to connect with yourself, and go through your own transformations in a way, because what you do has meaning for the world. And we must be in relationship with self. And I do look around at the moment at the world, and I do see a lot of disconnect. I myself, I go on on my phone a lot. We all live through COVID. There's lots of division at the moment in a multitude of ways. Um, and if we can't teach connection with the self, this self-awareness, this self-learning, the metacognition of thinking about thinking, um, I don't think we can teach anything else. How are we meant to teach, or what is the purpose of teaching anything else, if not for a better world? You can sort of go around in a circle and say, oh, I'll teach algebra and I'll teach mathematics and the fine arts and literature. But if it's not in service of something, then what is the purpose and point of it? And so that's sort of a lot what I'm interested in. And I came across this quote, I have it here, um, that Madame Blavatsky wrote in The Key to Theosophy. And she was talking about education. She said, "What is the real object of modern education? It is to cultivate and develop the mind in the right direction, to teach the disinherited and hapless people to carry with the fortitude the burden of life allotted them by karma, to strengthen their will, to inculcate in them the love of one's neighbor and the feeling of mutual independence and brotherhood, and thus to train them and form the character for practical life." And I really like that quotation, and I try to live by it um, when I teach the little ones and when I study. I try to remember that. And I really like that she puts at the end practical life. A lot of the time we talk a lot, and I'm doing it right now, but we have all this theory. But if we don't enact it, do we really know it? And everything you do in the classroom and in your life, even when you're handing out the school books to the children, you don't just throw them at the children, sort of, here you go, here you go. You place them down on the desk with care, showing love and respect and care for their work and their education. And so it's through everything you do, it shows them as a model that they should care for their own education and their own schoolwork. And so I think there's so many little things and they build up. Um, and it is as well a little bit disheartening. In Australia, we're having major teacher shortages, big crisis here. I think it's a bit of a global phenomenon. No one wants to be a teacher, and I just think, what does that do for the soul life of the child that no one's there who wants to receive them in all their unique singularity? Um, and no one's interested in their coming into the world to be received. So I think there's a lot we can think about and learn from theosophy for just our practical classrooms in education, but also for life itself. Um, so yes, I'm still learning so much. So I get to be a little bit of a teacher in one sense part of my life, but forever a student, and especially a very big student in theosophy. So it's what a wonderful thing to be a student. So thank you for having me here today.
Thank you so much, Ellie. That was so beautiful. Uh, I agree. I was you were talking about anthroposophy and theosophy, and I'm glad that you found theosophy first before, like it could have been other way around. For me also, I found theosophy first, and then I also met a little bit anthroposophy, and I also took actually the teaching course in physics in some moment, and I remembered I had a very nice professors who encouraged me to read some of the things, and one of the book, I think it was about uh, the Steiner's pedagogy or something, and there was this one thing that they said, the teacher is teaching more by her example than by the words what they are doing, and he brings example of some kind of instrument, like the strings, and 5 of the strings you can play, but 2 the last ones you never play. They start make sounds by vibration of the other strings, and this is like such a nice idea that our vibration what we give out, like you said, how you put this book on the table for somebody to pick up, how you show the respect of their education is how they are going to have the inner talk. Yeah, and this was so nice that you said that the teacher from the school was the one who lead you in this way. Do you happen to know if he or she is also part of the Theosophical Society?
I think at one point that he was, and that we've had many conversations about it. And it is something that, yeah, I sent him a membership form the other day saying you should come back. So we'll see. But either way, it's been a really nice connection. Yeah.
Yeah. Even if he does not really become a member, if he just takes part and encourages those who he sees that might benefit it, this is already like a great deal. Like, wow, I am so grateful for this kind of people. Yeah, to strengthen their will to form the character of the practical life. Yeah, I I think it was today I was reading how Blavatsky said there's 3 things that we can do in the Theosophical Society. One is give lectures about the things. The other one is print out and write books on the themes. And third one is to open the library. And the library thing is like nowadays we can get so much things from the computer, but oftentimes like I know that if I like to learn something spiritual, I so much like to have it like on a book format. And um, yeah, what is your thoughts on that theme, if I may ask?
Yeah, is that to me or everyone
Yes,
or?
it's for you and everyone.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, I think all is needed. And I think this is probably something where you were talking about anthroposophy before and Steiner, and I think that they differ in some respects, but there are some aspects that they do tend to agree on. Like education, I see a lot of similarities, and I mean, of course, Steiner sort of came from Theosophy, so he would bring a lot of that into his work. And I in the Steiner School, um, where I have worked and taught, we talk a lot about of head, heart, and hands, and they all sort of want to be in balance. So you want the children to have a nice balance of those 3 aspects, but also you as the teacher, and to sort of use your wisdom as to what needs to be used in the situation. So of course you have the thinking, which is the higher intellect, and sometimes you do need to do abstract work and thinking about it. But then if there's no feeling, if there's no heart, if there's no feeling connected to it, it's not going to be as easy to remember. It's not going to resonate. And then the final thing is the hands. We talk about the willing and actually doing it. And so I like to sort of think about those 3 things in my life as well. So lectures and some books I associate a lot with head, but then some words and people, the way people say things, like Iris was speaking before, Selva was speaking about their stories, that's very much heart. And then to go out into the world and use our hands to do something. And we do it a lot with the little kids, who, we start off with the doing and we start off with the willing. They're planting little plants in the garden, and it's through the doing that they learn to connect to their heart, to love and care and grow the plant. And then that connects to the head of, oh, what's the plant doing? How does photosynthesis work? And so it sort of works that way, but sometimes it can work that way as well. So I think the heart is the main connector between the two. So that's sort of how I see it. But I'm like you, I do like printed material as well. I do a lot of head work being a university student too. So
Thank you so much. Iris, what are your thoughts on that ideas of that Blavatsky had? Um, yeah, well, mainly about this that the lectures, the books, and the having a place like library, or like, what do you think in nowadays world, or like how it shoots together?
Well, I like that she's mentioning all three aspects, and what you said about opening the libraries, really like that way also. It can be online also, and I think there's also should be online is also, I think, important, and it has its own reality and rights and stuff. But I think it's, for me, it's more about the having them both. So not seeing the physical, like, yeah, putting away with the physical, or only the online thing. It's, I think they work both in this period of age, actually. But you were also saying something about your own presence, right? And how you act. And I think that's maybe it's a good fourth one also to. So it's not only the lectures, the books that we write, or the opening the libraries, but also like the way how you are in the world, and what Ellie was talking about, like how you place the books on the children's table. But I mean, we all have under daily lives our own things that we can do with more consciousness, actually. So I want to add that fourth one, actually.
Yeah, this is really good. Thank you. I remember there was this thing that somebody, I think it might have been Pablo Sender. He said like that to really understand how to make a good lecture. It's not like you make a lecture, but you really have to, if it is very clear in your head, you're able to form like a thought form, and then people can perceive it. But if you like read it and you do not understand it like yourself, then it's not much help for the other people. But if a teacher, what is this, like they have thought it through and they are holding this thought form, and we are go there to listen the words, but actually we are perceiving more than we can explain. And if students are present, and if you're interested, they can catch this interest. I remember I had one higher mathematics teacher. He was like, the complex function, it was like one of the hardest things, but his eyes were sparkling when he was talking about it. He was so enthusiastic, and I was like, he loves it so much. And like because of that, it wasn't, I mean, it was hard, but it was doable, because the person who was there, he gives something more than just the knowledge. He was giving this enthusiasm about this theme. So I agree. Yeah, this is Selva, do you have anything to add to these ideas?
Yeah, I mean, so what you mentioned, that we have things in the thought form, but we can manifest through writing. It can be, for example, in this world, whatever in is a thought structure, we can see through the writings as a form of manifesting material. And also, Krishnamurti, he mentioned somewhere, for example, in his, 1940s, 50s, where he recommended to write a diary. I mean, why it is, for example, when you when you see a fan which is having the wings, for example, it is already rotating at the first or second or third level high speed. You cannot see that those three blades which is rotating. But when you slow down the level of the speed, you can see the blade. I mean, there's three blades. So like that, when you write something, you can actually see that what is the thought realm, what is there. You can slow down your thought. You can actually manifest. You can write so that you can reflect. You can also see that between the thoughts what you are looking at it and all that. But how can you slow down? Only through reflection. And he was recommending that if you write a diary, it will be a great reflection, because it is slow down all the what is happening in your head, which is so quick, so fast, which you cannot able to see it. But when you sit and write something, it will be a great thing. It will be maybe helpful for so many people. For example, Krishnamurti has written a number of diaries. There is a book called Krishnamurti himself, Krishnamurti notebook, Krishnamurti journal. Those are all his own reflection, what is happening in his own mind. Other than all other books are talks, but these things are very, even when we read those books, we feel like we can able to see, we can able to feel what is happening in his, what he is seeing, what is happening. That feeling we can see it. So if that kind of printed material or that kind of reflection is not, it would have been not there. We don't have such a quality. The process which we called what is happening in Krishnamurti, which mentioned in the Krishnamurti notebook, which is very precious, where if that is not there, if he would have been not written, we may miss a very great literature on the planet, something like that. More people who have been more spent some 30, 40 years of Krishnamurti teachings, at the end of the day, they will only read one book called the Krishnamurti notebook, which he mentioned about. So whenever they read, they get that spirit. They can see that what is the state of where even Ellie, rather, she mentioned about the power of now. How when we are reading that book on any passages, we can actually go. We can walk. We can see. See, even Krishnamurti writes the same tree every day, but for him it is every day very new. Through his window, he will write October 15th. Yeah, same tree. But he writes same tree, something every day different. But we have so much of colored eyes, we cannot see that same thing for very mechanical in our brain. But when we reflect on this, when we started writing on it, I think we can see many things. It can be revealed. I can see that even the other way, we have our own library in our thought structure. It's just a form of manifestation. So it will be a very beautiful thing if it is there. Somebody can access. Who knows? When we are writing itself, we can see. And it is not that our own story we are seeing. Through the consciousness, the space of consciousness, whatever is happening, we can able to see it, we can able to write it. It is not that our own story, whatever we write it. So I think we can come upon that kind of attitude that whatever we are seeing in within ourselves, which is the history of mankind. So that we are reading, that we are writing, and that is there in the form of printed material. There is no doer. I'm just connecting it.
This
There
is
is
so
no one.
good. I really like that you bring out this. Now I want to read it. Like I bought many books, but most of them I have given as a gift away. But now I want to read this part because I do write also little diary entries, but I think not like that. Now I want to. I'm really curious. But thank you so much for the sharing. I will come back to you. But one thing you mentioned, the power of now, and Iris mentioned it. And this was actually for me also the book. Like I read other things, but I remember for me, one of the entries that came to us, I am not my thoughts. I am
Yeah.
not my emotions. This was what really put me into thinking. And I wanted to ask Iris, what was the thing that in this book spoke most to you, The Power of Now, or any other Tullas book?
Oh, I remember it so good. I was living with two friends actually, and so one of my roommates, he was like she was having this book, and she was like, this book blew my mind, you have to read it. You have to read it. And so I read it, and actually it was what I was telling before. It was about the future and the past not existing, and that was like, what? Yeah, I don't know. It was really, and now it feels so logical or something, you know. But then it was never that I stopped and slow down actually to think about this process. And yeah, we were talking about on the balcony on this, and we were like, wow, how can we not have thought of this? Like, how is this not there also in school or anything that you think of it this way? Yeah.
This is so cool. I remember, like, for me also it was like totally different. And the other thing you mentioned about your mother, actually for me also, my mother passed away 2011, and she also had cancer, and she also like little by little went like less and less, and I had time to prepare, but you know, still you were hoping that so many others get the operation and get better, and you're still hoping until the last moment, and you see like no, it's not working. But and I also felt like because that moment I already have like some theosophical teachings that I was able to thought I was able to speak to her and also my like grandmother about like the different lives, and like that this life is not everything, like we have the we are souls, and if that goes, then you know there's a new beginning. But I wanted to tell you that this thing is so real, what you said, like when one thing ends, something new begins. And I also felt like after she was away, I was able to be a vegetarian, like for real. I tried several times before, but like after something changed, and I also felt like I am able to see a little bit differently the world. And it's like I cannot explain it, but I'm so glad that you bring it out. Yeah. But maybe it's a theme for another day, time. But yeah, I wanted to tell you that this was for like a very real thing, and um, just thank you for sharing it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you also for sharing it, and it's
Please.
fascinating subject actually. That yeah.
But I like the way how you also see the life as seasons, like that there's some, like I also feel like it's like a waves, that there are waves that are
Yeah.
a lot of things coming, and I'm doing a lot of work, and then there's wave that for sometimes things are so slow, people are not acting, and uh, I love the time when it's you know, the end of the autumn, in the beginning of the not Christmas, but winter overall, because the nature goes inside, and also human feels, if its nature is very live outside, your intention is getting outside. But if your nature around comes inside, it's also like for you invitation to come inside and look what is there, and like be in the same like a rhythm that the nature is. I think more maybe in old times. Nowadays we have, you know, electric lights and things, but old times when it was dark outside, you know, you had longer sleep and it was affecting more. But I think, yeah, we are living now in a like little bit different area, like, but in those countries when you have like very like big difference in winter and summer, the daylight mode. You can feel the cycles in your life more. But now in India, I think we have like 15-20 minutes difference of summer and winter. Is all the time like about 6 o'clock sun rises and about 6:30 goes, and it's like different. I feel like stuck in this eternal summer. It's just one season, and the time is not going on. But yeah, there's something into it. Like I'm not like I don't mind. It's really nice, but also there's something in this how you feel. this waves, or I like how you said we have like a personal seasons. And another thing, I didn't know how much can relate, but I was thinking maybe those seasons can be related to astrology. Like maybe our planets or something reach in a place where you get a little bit stuck. It's just when I was listening, you another thought that came to my mind.
Yeah, I also don't know much about astrology, but what I've noticed that yes, all these planets have so much influence on us, and they are all moving all the time, and the stars and etc. So yeah, life it's, I mean, even though like for you in India and for everybody who's living in a country where there's not really much season change, there's still the planets who are influencing us and still making us feel all those different things that are not coming from only inside of us but also from the outside. So it's also sometimes also acceptance that we can try to do our best to be as good a mood and etc. as we can, but sometimes the sun is not there to give us that energy, or the planets are not there that giving us like this kind of energy. So it's not already up to us, but also about accepting all the influences of the outside and how you react to it, I think. Yeah,
that is so true. Maybe I can ask Ellie what you think about this, how the life goes as cycles, because I just before I heard that you also have snow, but just in the summertime, or like or like your winter is like an opposite
We're
time.
opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are opposite here in Australia. A lot of people don't know that we do have snow, but in some parts, I'm from a part of Australia where I grew up skiing, so that was very normal. And our winter lasts from July, August, September, so we have a 3 month winter. And in some parts of Australia, it's colder than others. We have very big country here, actually. So yeah, it is interesting. I heard a beautiful sentence the other day, which I won't get quite right, but one of the ladies was talking about is before it was summer and it was spring. And she made the comment, which I never thought about with spring before, because I always think spring, it's so, bursting and new life. And she said there's something very delicate about it, which I'd never thought of. She said, it's when it's just starting to bud, it's very vulnerable. And there's this delicate nature. And yeah, I really it stuck with me even just now. And it has. It's changed a perspective, and I think goes back to that caring, we've always got to be, if we're not aware of ourselves, but also our surroundings, the world that ourself is in, I think that's very important. So even what Iris was saying about, being aware of even if you're not fully into astrology, still being aware of the stars and the different planets and what the sun's doing. I think there's something in that.
Thank you so much for sharing. I agree about the delicacy. It's like each seasons have their own energy, like their total own energy, and yeah. But I would also like to hear what Selva thinks about this cyclic going and the seasons of like this spiritual, or like seasons of humans, like inner development.
Yeah, I mean, I was feeling like that. There are many changeable things, seasons, human forms, materials, human emotions, psychological content. They have a lot of changes, but if I would have been placed, I'm myself as a witness. Am I changing? That's what my question. Am I changing, or am I just identifying with it, with the human form, with all this, whatever things we see? So there are a small practice which I would like to, for example, in Vedanta, it will ask, whatever you see, that is you are not. For example, can you able to see the computer in front of you? Yes, you can able to see the laptop and the chairs, the table, and can you able to see your breath? Then there is a yes, I can able to see my breath. I mean, I can able to sense it. Can I able to see my thought? Yes, can I able to see my thought? So whatever I'm seeing, I'm not that. So I can able to see my thought. I can able to see my breath. I can able to see, and then the question comes: can you able to see your form, your own body? Yes, I'm able to see. That is also not that. So the question comes: who am I? And that will be a very beautiful thing where that never changes actually. So a kind of this feeling is there. Am I really this changeable things? So I'm keeping that question. There are two questions I'm keeping in recent days. Things are happening through. Is it things are happening by me? Am I doing, or it is happening through me? And one more thing is, am I changeable? Am I something? Something am I changing? Am I changing or am I not? Since childhood, within me, something. I mean, I'm feeling that there is something which within me since even some 8 9 years or whatever. There is something which is not changed. There is something which you cannot describe it, anything about it, put into your word, because of through knowledge or thought. When you say something, again, it is limited. So I was feeling that, are we that limited? So that kind of question is arising. So I question about even the changing phenomenon. Anyway, but I see, for example, when we even the daily transactions, there are so many emotions comes up. Now I was looking into those things, that changeable things happening within me as a kind of, it is happening, it's not I am doing. I just want to shift my mode to happening. So when I see that things are happening, then who am I? Can I be in the space? Can I be just like the space which be nothing and then things are happening? So I want to look at the life through that kind of approach, that kind of way, so that whatever is happening, can I able to see whatever it is. Even where my mother is getting sick, I do all that. I go hospital, I admit, I see everything, I see all my emotions, all that I see it, and then keeping with that eye on it, am I seeing? Am I looking? Look at the things what is happening within me. So I question, whatever we see, are we that? Whatever we see, whatever we feel, whatever we notice, all that, with the senses, without senses, all that including, are we that? Are we that limited? Or are we something beyond? Is there something quality which is not, we are not part of it. We are not part of all this happening. Something, there is a space which things are happening, or we have that quality within us. That was the feeling when all the people, when all of you were sharing. So that was a feeling I'm getting it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Selva. That was very beautiful and deep. And I very much appreciate what you shared before about the consciousness, that this is there and not the body and not everything else. But I can see that Seth has question. Please, Seth.
Yeah. Yeah, this idea that Silva's talking about, that we're not our mind, emotion, and body, and all these things. I don't know. I feel like that's always kind of in the background of my mind, or at least I try to make it. And I often wonder, like I see I'm not all of these things that, you know, we normally identify ourselves with. And then I have this question, what do we do now? Like I see that I'm not this thing, I'm not that, I'm not that. Pretty much anything I see or identify with, I know I'm not that. So what do I do now? Um, so that's one question. And then I guess in terms of education, do we try to show that to kids, that they're not these things, there's something deeper, or is that too much for them? Like how much of that can we show to someone who's still learning who and what they are? Any of it? None of it? I don't know. Just some thoughts.
Yeah. Ellie, would you like to add your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's a really good question in terms of what do we do with that now? And you said that, and yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful question. The education part of it is maybe slightly more palatable to answer, is that I think, especially when there's children who are little, you don't necessarily really, even though children, I think, are the best philosophers, because they just ask so many wonderful questions. But I think you also don't want to come in with too much abstract philosophical concepts to kind of put onto them. But maybe that's a little bit of what I was trying to get at before, is that you don't necessarily have to explicitly teach them everything. If you sort of are working and walking that path within yourself, you will hopefully have some sort of resonance with them. And as they grow and get older, there might be opportunities where you can have those more explicit conversations, or there may just be opportunities where there's not even what you have said, but how you have said it or how you have acted that has sort of stuck with them and become a little seed, which then grows later on in life to something that they then go and explore. There's been a couple of times where I've learnt things in my life and it's gone over my head, and later on something's happened and I've gone, oh, I've been able to connect the dots with that moment before. But yeah, it's a wonderful question, Seth, that what do we do now? Now we now we've realized that. If we can realize that. I'm still realizing that.
Iris, do you have some thoughts on set questions?
Well, I was actually really agreeing with what Ellie said, that I think it's not really about what we explicitly say, but like how we act. And so I'm a bit repeating you, but this is also, I don't think that this is the only thing we can do, and I think we can also not really beforehand really think of everything how to say or how to do or etc. And I think if you just embody it, and try to connect every day with your higher self, that these questions or these answers will come and roll on, and you will have opportunities in life, and you will be in that moment, you will know what to say or what to do, what is the right thing for that moment. So I think we cannot really say, oh, you should say it like this or should say it like that. And I think it's just also about really feeling what that moment needs or what a child needs, because I think also like every child or situation asks for a different way of expressing or approaching, of a different way of using some words. And it's only if you already feel this, and it's only the way that how you say these words may be different, but the content is, I think, yeah, the energy is the same. So yeah, that's all my thoughts actually on it.
This is really nice. Thank you. I just came to my mind. One of my teachers says it is like your motivation when you read. If your motivation is, to help, and like then you read in a way that even if you forget about what you read, it comes to your mind a right moment when somebody's speaking something and you, oh, this thing, like I see Selva has read a lot of things and he's just picking it up and picking it up, and I like how he's almost every day he posts something in the forum, something inspirational for others, and I really really appreciate that. But this thing, like, it comes to you, and then this feeling like this is worth sharing. This is something so valuable for me that I want others to also take part of it. But Selva, can you also give your thoughts on the question that Seth had? What now when we have realized that this is not me?
Yeah, I don't know. It is the field is communicating to itself. The whole consciousness field. It is just communicating to itself. And what are we now? I see that this. You only observe. That's it. Nothing more than that. and also this knowledge or any of the this knowledge cannot help to understand that. So I see always I step back. I want to this consciousness has to withdraw this identification and look at its own self, in the sense the self, the space which all of us exist. So this all knowledge and all the memories, all our reactions and this identity and all of us, I'm seeing as a burden to the own consciousness itself. And it is very misleading to identify as a changing phenomenon. So it has to withdraw and it has to look at it and it has to see what it is. Then maybe something else. So there is certain kind of freedom we may see when we withdraw from all the form of identifications, all the form of our intellectual, the thing what I feel I know and all that I'm doing I know and all that, when we withdraw, and then we can see the space which all of us are there, and it just we can say that it's a kind of self-talk we all of us speaking to our own self. And maybe I'm feeling that Madam Blavatsky, Krishnamurti, Ramana Maharishi, they are all our ultimate versions. They are all part of us, same consciousness, and they are our ultimate version of ourselves. So we are not separated from them. So when we quiet, we can able to, what you are saying, that something come up in your mind or something coming up. So all the resources are there in the consciousness. We can access them. But how can we access? Only when we step out of the stream of limited, then we can access through all that. So I see that all these masters are ultimate and best version of ourselves. So you're not separate from them. So there is this feeling that what we are doing right now is we are just having a self-talk to whole humanity, to all of us, and to oneself and all that. So it is all one. I was feeling there is a oneness. Yes.
This is
Nothing else.
beautiful. Thank you. It reminds me, in Povali, we had a youth gathering a few years ago, and then at one point we were talking about this oneness, and then we were looking this small film that is like 7-8 minutes length. It's about the egg. Yeah, and it was about the same approach, that there's this person who dies, and then he meets God, and the God talks about what's happening now. And in the end, he understands that he is all humanity. Like he is like what you said. And this is, we're thinking about the oneness, but this what you said. We are Blavatsky and Olcott. We are the masters. This is like really nice.
Yeah, I was feeling they are the ultimate version of ourselves. Yeah. So we can access through consciousness all the resources. But when we limit this, when we step out of this limited, then I think we can access all those things. I think.
Thank you. Seth, do you like this? Do you agree with this? Those thoughts that you heard?
Yeah, very much. A lot of it seems to embody the idea of actions speak louder than words, I think. At least that's the impression I got, which seems to be pretty intuitive, I think. Makes sense.
Yeah. I was also seeing that the person who asked the question, the person who was answering, the person who was conducting the retreat or whatever, all of us same.
I like how you say it is self-talk. Like, yeah, we have a self-talk. This is actually a really nice way to see. And some people are like self-arguing, but real life, it also happens that you have some different parts of you that are arguing. Like, yeah. I wanted to ask, do we have some more questions from the audience? You can think if you have something to ask. Meanwhile, I'm asking the same question that I like to ask. from all of you. If there's a person who doesn't know much about Theosophy, but they seem obviously like interested, what would be the book that you recommend them to read? Yeah, please, Selva, if you like to comment on that.
Even I want to read it. I mean, in the sense I'll go through material on all that. Yeah, yes. But maybe I may say again classical way, the book of oneself.
Okay, but you actually also said like Krishnamurti's
Yeah,
the diary that you like
yeah,
how it
notebook.
is
Yes.
written. So this could be like one of the. It's not like a classical philosophical book, but it will be like really interesting a book for somebody who is thinking and are interested in like a spiritual.
Yeah, I can recommend if suppose somebody want to explore the Krishnamurti teachings at an initial phase,
Mm-hmm.
they can read Think on These Things, Life Ahead. There are these two books which I have in conversation with the children and teenage. So Think on These Things and Life Ahead. These two book very nice. And the process Krishnamurti notebook, Krishnamurti himself and all that, that was maybe a very abstract. They cannot understand what is happening
Mm.
in Krishnamurti. But for example, the people who have been explore themselves at a certain amount of time, then they can read it. That Krishnamurti notebook or uh, Krishnamurti himself or Krishnamurti journal. Those three is a right kind of diary where people couldn't understand it. Very abstract. Yeah.
Thank you, Iris.
But yeah, I would like to hear. There are some other books in Theosophical Society where people recommended it. I'm open to read it. Yeah.
Iris.
Well, I was thinking that it's so difficult for decide for somebody else to read a book. I feel like it's so intuitive what you need at that moment at that time. So I would maybe just recommend go to a library, a theosophical library or a library who has more spiritual books, and just really feel like which book is like speaking to you. And for me, doesn't really matter. I don't really think there's like a structure on reading those books, because for some people, if you read like a book who maybe seems more difficult, you can also really connect with it. So it's yeah, go to a library and just see what's there. Yeah, that would be my tip. Yeah.
That is totally, and I've been actually in Amsterdam library, and I like one time, and you also sell used books, and I bought a lot of there, and I very much liked it because you write, you go there, and the right, you just trust the process, and it comes to you. Yeah. But Ellie, do you have something to suggest?
Yeah, probably echo Iris here a little bit. It's funny you said that, Iris, because I was in Sydney in November with Leota and Francis, and we were in a theosophical library, and Leo said to me, just close your eyes and get up and just pick whichever book you feel drawn to, and that's exactly the
Like,
process we did. So it's very funny you bring that up. I think, yeah, very much depends on the person, what their interest is, what angle they want to take. I have a friend who is studying gender studies at university, and she's very into feminism. And so I recommended Theosophy and the Woman's Movement um, by Miss Despard, who was the leader of the Women's Freedom League. Um, so that's a good one for that angle. The first theosophical book I ever read was From the Outer Court to the Inner Sanctum by Annie Besant. Um, I mean, for there's Invisible Helpers, Thought Forms by Leadbeater. Those books are quite fun. Invisible Helpers has a lot of the narrative stories if people are more into that. So yeah, it's a wide range. I probably wouldn't start with Madame Blavatsky's. But I mean, again, some people may. So yeah, it's hard to say.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, it's depends so much on a person. Some years ago, Chris was so nice that he has this idea to make young Theosophist or the leadership like a course. And on this course, we have like one lecture that has a video in YouTube that recommends some books for a person who, want to know what is there to read in Theosophy. And I got some inspiration from one of the Pablo Sender's lectures for that one. And we have several introductory books. When I was in Estonia, I always think The Key to Theosophy is like the first book you give person. But no, that this is maybe there's some people who is really doesn't. This is not like the best way. I've met like my own father like this was not his like a book that really spoke to him, although he like some other. But yeah, there's several books, and we have several people who are like need different kind of approach to things. But before I ever go to Theosophy, I also had the same approach. Like I said, you go to the bookshop or you go to the library, and yeah, you just feel what is speaking to you. And also nowadays, if I go to the library or someplace and I pick some books and I open them in random places. And if this random place, I give them like 2 or 3 tries. Sometimes the first thing that I open is like, oh, this is so good. This is like, yeah, this book is already taken. But I give them like a few, like I really believe that like I have many years at the feet of the master in my pocket or in my purse. And whenever I had like a question that I really like, I don't know, and then I open it and just read few lines. And usually I get some kind of insight or answering from there. But I feel like spiritual books have this kind of tendency. And that I heard that also secret doctrines can be used like this way. But yeah, so some of the thoughts that came to my mind. But do we have some more questions? If we haven't, then thank you so very much for this last beautiful mini panel talk in 2025. And it was such a lovely to see you all here and hear your thoughts and your stories. And I hope we will meet you again and hear you again. And I hope we will meet all in person sometime soon. And I very much like how, although we came for so different places, but how similar things happens and similar thoughts. And most of all, I love that you're ready to share it with others, and so they can also find their ways. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks everyone
Kimberly.
for
Thank
sharing.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, and see you until the next time.